Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, it is my pleasure.
Amazing. So just call me Jesse.
You left out the fact that the LA Times called me the black face of white supremacy.
I was going to ask you that.
You got to put that in there. I worked hard for that title.
Yeah. You know, before I get into all this thing, I know you've been through a lot. I remember when you first done radio and you would have me on, and people were attacking you from left to right, calling you all kind of names and protesting, and that's been going on forever.
Right.
And how have you dealt with all that? How do you deal with it?
You know, Jesse, I get that question all the time. I've been called an Uncle Tom, bootlicking Uncle Tom, foot-shuffling bootlicking Uncle Tom, bug-eyed foot-shuffling bootlicking Uncle Tom, the Antichrist, blackface of white supremacy. The thing I've rarely been called, and what would bother me more than anything else, is wrong.
Yeah.
I'll say something about taxes, something about regulation, something about what the welfare state has done to the black family, something about the dismal state of K through 12 education in urban America. And people may attack me and call me a sellout and Uncle Tom, but I rarely hear the word wrong. Yeah. That to me would bother me more than anything else. Aside from that, Jesse, over the years, I'm sure you developed the same kind of hard bark. Over the years, you realize that when people say stuff like that, that means they're out of ammo. The thing to do if you think somebody is wrong is to marshal the facts, make an argument, here's why you're wrong. They can't do that, so they call names. It's silly. It's almost sad because it shows you they're not willing to develop anything, not willing to grow. Yeah. And we in the black community have a real problem with that, which is why we have so many problems, because somebody like myself, somebody like yourself comes out and say, look, the number one problem in the black community is not systemic racism. It's the large number of kids who enter the world without a father in the home married to the mother. It's a problem for America in general, but it's particularly acute in the black community, where 70% of black kids enter the world without a father in the home married to the mother, up from 25% back in 1965. And what's happened? The welfare state, launched by Democrat Lyndon Johnson in 1965, has incentivized women to marry the government and incentivized men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. And when I raise this, instead of saying, let's deal with it, why is it happening, I get attacked, which means it doesn't get solved.
Yeah. I was wondering, your message is for all people. It's for all people, but especially black people. And if they were to listen to the message and follow a little bit of it, just some of it, their life would get so better. Has it ever bothered you that the blacks, not all, but most black people goes against the message?
Yeah, it bothers me because we're not going to improve the problem until we recognize we have it. A kid raised without a father, Jesse, is 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. Now, it seems to me, if that's true, I would want to know what I can do to reverse that, instead of attacking the guy that's bringing the message. Yeah. I was in Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump about a month ago when I dropped out of the race. We'll talk about that. And I endorsed him. And I told him that I ran as a mega candidate. And I said, I know we have a mega candidate, his name is Donald Trump, but I ran because you are not talking about some of the issues that are really affecting the country. Yeah. And if I can get you to begin talking about those, I would feel that my candidacy achieved its objective. And the number one thing I told him is the epidemic of fatherlessness. 40% of all American kids now enter the world without a father in the home married to the mother. 25% of white kids do, which was the same percentage as was blacks back in 1965. And I told him that a young black male, aged 13 to 43, Jesse, is 13 times more likely to be murdered than a white male, same demo. He was shocked. He said, do you have a source for that? I said, yeah, the Centers for Disease Control. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
And the number one cause of preventable death for a white teenager or white kid, 19 and under, is accidents, like car accidents or drownings or drug overdoses. The number one cause of preventable death for a 19-year-old black male and under is homicide, almost always at the hands of another young black male. Yeah. Now, it seemed to me, if this is true, my reaction would be, good Lord, what are we going to do about it, as opposed to you're an Uncle Tom, you're a sellout, you're a bootlicker, you're just saying stuff for the white people. I mean, that's silly, and it means we're not going to solve the problem.
Yeah. Why do you think most black people reject the message? When they know, they can look in their own family, they can look in the community, they see what you're saying is true. Why do they reject the message?
Easier to blame somebody else. Yeah. Easier to point the fingers at somebody else. Yeah. Because if you don't do that, and you're on the left, and you voted for all these Democrats that have kept pushing these policies, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and go, oh my God, what have I done? And that's just a bridge too far for a lot of people.
Amazing. I wanted to ask you about that, but first I want to know, how do you see America now? Things have changed in such a negative, for the lack of a better word, evil, drastic way all of a sudden. How do you see America, and do you think we'll ever come back to being America again?
I believe, at least I hope, Jesse, that the captain of the Titanic, had he known the iceberg was ahead, would have taken corrective action.
Yeah.
So I think if you tell people iceberg ahead and explain it to people so they understand it, they will take corrective action. But it's going to take us, you, me, people like yourself, to explain to people that we need to do something about this.
Yeah.
I think we were at an inflection point in America when Barack Obama got elected, 2008. MLK gave an interview in 1964. This is right after the passage of the Civil Rights Act of '64, which, as you probably know, a greater percentage of Republicans voted for than Democrats.
Yes.
Republican, of course, is the party of racism. So it had just passed. MLK gave an interview. And he said, the changes in America, positive changes, the last 2 years, have surprised me. Why, if we continue in this trajectory, we could have a black president in about 40 years' time. Almost on cue, Barack Obama got elected. He didn't say, Jesse, in 40 years' time we're going to have black CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and we have.
Right.
He didn't say in 40 years' time we're going to have mayors, black mayors of almost all the major cities in America. And right now, the mayor of New York is black, Chicago black, LA black. He didn't say that. He didn't say the head of the American Medical Association, the head of the American Bar Association, the two largest and most prestigious professional organizations in America, would have black leaders, and they have. He didn't say the winning Super Bowl coach in the NFL is going to be black, and there has been.
Yeah.
He said black president, meaning once that happens, we can now say, to the fullest extent that it's possible, you're never going to eliminate all races in America, 350 million people, there are going to be some knuckleheads. But if a black president got elected, MLK said back in 1964, we can say it's done. Obama got elected. I was in the Boston arena.
Hold on 1 minute. Homeless person. A homeless alert.
We need to do something about that too.
I know. I'm going to ask you about that. It's bad there.
I have a whole section on it. I know
Yeah.
it's real bad and getting worse. Jesse, I was in Boston in 2004 when this skinny kid with funny little ears, a name nobody could pronounce, full of charisma, came out and gave that speech. He was introducing John Kerry, who was a 2004 Democrat nominee. And he said, there's no red America. There's no blue America. There's just one America.
Yeah.
There's no black America. There's no white America. There's just one America. We are one. It brought the house down.
Amazing.
He decided to run for president. And his first interview on 60 Minutes, he wasn't the front runner yet, but he was gaining on Hillary. The correspondent said, Senator, if you don't win, will it be because of your race? Now, I was home by myself. I know what kind of answer Al Sharpton would have given, who ran for president and complained about racism.
Yeah.
Jesse Jackson ran twice and complained about racism.
Yeah.
I know what answer they would give. I said, let's see what this man says. And Senator Obama said, no. If I don't win, it will be because I have not articulated a vision that the American people can embrace. I said, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Senator Obama was speaking at a black church. And he was talking about how much racism there is in America. And he said, the Moses generation, referring to the generation of MLK, has gotten us 90% of the way there. My generation, he said, the Joshua generation, has to get us an additional 10%, which I thought was reasonable. And I said, okay, that's the guy America thought they hired. Even people who didn't vote for him cried. I did. I didn't vote for him, but I cried when he got elected. Even people who didn't vote for him said, all right, at the very least, I don't want Obamacare. I don't want my taxes raised. At the time, he criticized the war in Iraq. At the time, it was popular. I don't want that. But at least he will stop the nonsense about America being systemically racist and bring us together racially. Even people who didn't vote for him assumed that. The polls show that both blacks and whites thought race relations would improve. 8 years later, when he left, both blacks and whites thought race relations got worse.